Welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, and today's topic was brought to us by Teen Toys. I thought it was a very creative, interesting topic. It is the top 10 Transformers characters that have surpassed their original namesakes. So, for example, G1 Knockout was a Micromaster, and Transformers Prime Knockout it would be a better known version of the character with a better known application of the name. Some people tried to vote for toy updates. That's not what this was. The character said, or the question said, character. Some people tried to vote for 5, 6, 7, 8. One guy put down like 7 or 8. One guy said, all the ones I can think of. And like the word, again, the word one is there in the question in all caps. Like, all you're doing is telling me you haven't read the question, guys. However, those that did read the question really gave some very, very intriguing, interesting votes. There were a lot of them, and people were very vocal with this one. So good on you, Teen Toys, for giving us a really meaty topic that people were able to dig into. Top 10 Transformers characters who have later iterations that surpassed their earlier iterations, right? Their later versions surpassed their earlier namesakes. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Countdown. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. Helps me out a ton, lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this is the top 10 Transformers characters whose later iterations, later versions surpassed their earlier iterations, earlier versions. I love this topic. I thought it was so good. We only have one honorable mention, and that is, I thought this one was a bit weird at first because a couple people said G1 Swerve, and I said, no, it would have to be an update from G1. And then they explained, no, the later comics, the G1 that IDW did. So I separated that. I was like, okay, that's cool, because that's not really a continuation of the original G1. It's like a revisioning of it, if you will. So I was like, oh, okay, I understand you now. The dude with the bar and the dude with the My First Blast or whatever that is, not the same as the guy who got stomped on, if I'm not mistaken, by Trypticon in the old G1 cartoon. Naturally, this would be an example where a later version of Swerve was given so much more personality and so much more story. Whether I like it or not, it's a different kettle of fish. But I understand the vote now, and it is the only honorable mention we have. IDW Swerve over G1 Swerve. Proper G1 Swerve. G1 cartoon Swerve. That's the honorable mention. That's it for the honorable mentions. We're going to do next, as we always do. We only have 10 slots, and we're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Kicking us off at number 10, we have this guy, Armada Red Alert. And those that voted for him said he's better than the G1 Red Alert. Armada Red Alert had a cool backstory, losing his hand, kind of understanding the tumultuousness of war, had a long history, a close comrade with Optimus Prime, even partook in the final battle against Unicron. All while his G1 counterpart was best known as being a sidekick to Inferno and having that like brain zap, brain damaged episode when he thought everyone was out to get him. Yes, the characterization, the personification of Red Alert in Armada is definitely richer, a deeper tapestry, and that's why Armada Red Alert takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9 we have this. It is Prime RC. Now this is rough. This is discolored. There's a piece broken here. This is the Beast Hunters version. It belongs to my son. But it's the only version of Prime RC we own, oddly. Nevertheless, Prime RC over G1 RC. Now, I love G1 RC. I do. And I love that they have used her over and over again. Some people, for example, said like the the animated was a really cool iteration. Some people said that the Bumblebee movie version was a really cool updated iteration of RC. But by far, the voters that voted for RC said Prime RC. She is a skilled combatant. She is brave. She is tough. She is smart. She is cunning. She is wily. She is resourceful. All the things that you want in a brave Transformer, in a brave Autobot, she has. Even if she was a little jaded and had to learn how to build a relationship with Jack. Nevertheless, a lot of people, when they think of RC, don't think of the pink and white version. They think of the blue and gray version from Transformers Prime. Who am I to argue? Transformers Prime RC takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we stick with Transformers Prime and their iteration of Predic. So I love Predic as a combiner. In fact, I have Unique Toys Warlord as my Predic combiner. I think the Titan Predic was great. I think, who can argue with Feral Rex, right? King for so long. The point being, normally, a lot of people will think of Predic as a combiner. Even though none of those characters, nor Predic himself, exactly had the most characterization. Fast forward to Transformers Prime, and while we were very much, I think, robbed of proper Predicons, even in Predicons Rising there was only 3 in total, I do believe wholeheartedly that the character of Dragon Predic added a lot to Season 3, as short as it was. He had a minimal amount of time, and for some of that was evolving to the point where he couldn't transform, where he didn't have a voice, but he evolved to being a true brave leader that you believed was able to hold his own against Megatron and Optimus Prime. And when it came to Predacons Rising, and he was leading those other 2 Predacons, you believed he could lead an army of Predacons if they were there. Yeah. Dragon Transformers Prime Predic. Not the combiner lad. As excellent as he is, this one definitely a more prolific character, and he takes the number 8 slot. Coming in at number 7, we have this. That's right, Transformers 1, Elita 1. Now there have been versions of Elita all across the Pantheon, from G1 in that 1 episode, actually I think it was 2 episodes, to later on, we've seen Elita 1 in things like the Netflix trilogy, for example. But a lot of people said, look, her best personification, where she had a motivation, where she wanted something to prove, where she was young, we were able to see the evolution of her character, was in Transformers 1. Yes, there have been several iterations of Elita 1, but none of them quite as well fleshed out and quite as fun of a character, according to voters, as the Transformers 1 version. Yes, Transformers 1, Elita 1, over all others, takes the number 7 slot. Coming in at number 6, we have Scourge. Now, I'm holding the RID Scourge here because the voters were actually really split. They said, after G1, Scourge became a huge, big baddie in RID. He did. He also, even though sometimes this is known as a Nemesis Prime. In North America, it was Scourge. People also said, look no further than the G1 compared to Rise of the Beasts, where, agree with it or not, he was the big baddie of that film, even though Unicron was the big baddie of that film. Let's be realistic. The big baddie, the guy that you knew when he came lumbering on screen it was going to be bad, was Scourge. So whether you mean the RID or the Rise of the Beasts, both of them are characterizations that have quite possibly surpassed the G1. While a lot of people recognize the G1 and default to it, I think in terms of full-on characterization, it's not the richest, right? There are great stories that he had, but mostly he was a supporting character. Whereas in Rise of the Beast, he was a main baddie, whereas in RID 2001, he was also a main baddie. Yeah, Scourge. Menacing name for menacing characters, and he takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever-coveted, ever-popular halfway mark. And I love the one at the halfway mark because it's Blackout. And I think most of us, when we think of Blackout, we think of a helicopter. Most of us will probably think of that first scene in the 07 film when he attacked that military base. Some people will think of Helicopter Blackout from animated. But I'm willing to bet that almost nobody will think of the G1 Micromaster anti-aircraft, the anti-aircraft base combiner, where It was a jet that came with that base. The front half was blue, and that was Blackout. The back half was gray, and that was Space Shot, I think is his name. And there was even going to be a G2 iteration of Blackout as an all-black Seeker. I don't know. I don't think that ever came to fruition, to be honest with you. So going from a Micromaster to an animated helicopter to this big, bad, burly, prolific helicopter. Even yours truly, when I think of Blackout, my mind immediately races to the live-action helicopter iteration. Yeah, scary dude, and he takes the number 5 slot. Coming in at number 4, we have Bulkhead. And whether you mean Transformers Prime or animated, there were votes for both. I just sort of lumped them together because neither of them were the Transformers Energon green helicopter version, which was the first Bulkhead. In fact, that version, the Energon version, my understanding is took inspiration for his personality and alt mode from both Springer and Cup. But a lot of people don't think of that when you say Bulkhead. They think of either the Space Bridge Repairing Lad from animated or the Space Bridge Repairing Lad from Prime. They are two slightly different takes on the same character, but neither of them are the Energon helicopter. And both of them are definitely more prolific. This is meant to be an inspiration and homage to Prime, but funny enough, I feel like the legacy is actually more of an homage to animated. Either one, those kind of had equal votes, really, and both of them beat out the Energon Lad. Takes the number 4 slot. Number 3 is another example of a Micromaster that became a full bot, and it's another example from Transformers Prime with Knockout. Most people, when they think of Knockout, will think of this guy. Very vain, very crass, loves his paint scheme, you know, loves his car detailing. He's also a Decepticon medic. I believe the first, if not one of the only Decepticon medics. A lot of scientists on the Decepticon side, but not a lot of doctors. That said, originally Knockout was a G1 Micromaster. I believe part of the construction squad or something, and like combined with another member, if I'm not mistaken. I think I had G1 Knockout, if I'm not mistaken. I think Knockout and Grit went together. But even when I think of Knockout, I don't think of that, even though I owned it. I think of this. Yeah, Knockout takes the number 3 slot. Number 2 takes us to the live-action franchise once again, and Bumblebee. This is one version of live-action Bumblebee. There are many, but the overall kind of theme for voters was that the Camaro Bumblebee has become like an iconic face of the franchise, whether you like him or not. He's become so renowned and so known as a face of the franchise that voiceless lad actually has more notoriety and more personality than the G1 VW Bug version. Granted, G1ers are absolutely going to go back to the G1 VW Bug and say this isn't right. But there are a couple of generations at this point that know their Bumblebee as not a mini bot with a VW Bug alt mode. They know him as a full-sized Camaro, whether from 07 or Dark of the Moon or Revenge of the Fallen or Age of Extinction or the Bumblebee movie or Rise of the Beasts even. You know where I'm going with this. Yeah, the evolution from the little G1 runt to full-on franchise hero makes Bumblebee, live-action Bumblebee, take the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy-top number 1. And number 1 won by a landslide. You probably were already able to predict it. I predicted it as well, because number 1 is live-action Barricade. So Barricade started his life as a cruel Micromaster tyrant who was really mean to his team, the race car team. He's like a blue race car, I believe, with purple, or maybe he's a purple race car with blue, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, he's a Micromaster who was cruel to his entire team, all of his underlings. The live-action movies revision Barricade as a full-on deluxe police car, a Decepticon police car. That caught on so much that a couple of years ago when the Galactic Odyssey subline on Amazon was done, and the Dominus Pursuit set was done with Punch Counterpunch, the other one in that set was a G1 version of Barricade using the like Earth mode, Earthrise, Silver Streak, Blue Streak, Prowl mold. as a police car. Completely revisioning Barricade, even in G1, as now a police car. So much so that even when a proper Barricade was released in a MicroMaster pack, he was renamed, I think, as Runner, if I'm not mistaken. No longer Barricade, because Barricade's not that MicroMaster lad anymore. Barricade is law enforcement. To serve and protect? Nah. Punish and enslave. Takes the number 1 slot. Man, that's 10 down to 1, and there were a lot of voters who said, I never even heard of this character until this. A lot of people complain about the live-action movies, but how many entries here, valid entries, came from the live-action movies? You can say what you like it, love it, hate it, but characters like Blackout, characters like Barricade, really became super prolific because of the live-action versions. Other ones that had votes, Animated Swindle over G1 Swindle. The Netflix version of Impactor over the G1 comic book version of Impactor. The Armada Jetfire and the live action Jetfire over G1 Jetfire. I don't know if that's more prolific or not, to be honest with you. That's a bit of an iffy one to me. Age of Extinction Drift over comic book Drift, because a lot of people, for right or wrong, will know that Bugatti version with his, very samurai-esque face. Armada Starscream over G1 Starscream. Prime Breakdown over Combiner Breakdown. Animated Blitzwing. Jazz. The live action Jazz. Tarn? That one kind of confused me. I don't remember an original Tarn. Maybe they meant the Cyberverse Tarn over the comic book Tarn. I'm not sure. They didn't specify. Age of Extinction Crosshairs over G1 Crosshairs, the Target Master lad. Definitely more prolific. Age of Extinction Crosshairs just had more personality, for right or wrong. Hot Rod, Revenge of the Fallen Skids over G1 Skids. More prolific, but not in a good way. Getaway, I'm not really sure about that one. Beast Wars Silverbolt over G1 Silverbolt. Somebody said Lyle Kaiser, but I don't think that really particularly fits either. I think, because some people misinterpreted it and thought that it was like a toy update and said like, has Lyle Kaiser over Combiner Wars Lyle Kaiser. It's still Lyle Kaiser. The question was character, not figure updates. 2015 Strong Arm, Clobber, because in a lot of nations, Clobber is still named in a version of Lugnut. The only thing that really changed was that Clobber was given a tank alt mode instead of a plain alt mode, and maybe a tank fits Lugnut / Clobber better. I see them as siblings. Energon Downshift, Dreadwing, what else? Anything else here? Oh, I like this one, and I think this one's controversial too. 07 Optimus Prime with all of his flame deco over G1 Optimus Prime. As a G1 guy, you're not going to sell me on it, but if you're a movie fan, I understand why you might be sold on it. I think that was an iffy one. Anyway, let me know if your favorites made the list, if yours was the honorable mention with Swerve, or if yours made the list here at the very end for those, other ones that got votes. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, man, not for a second, not for a moment, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.